despite all of the hype coming into this offensive, it has gone slowly, and we've heard Ukrainian leaders express frustration with this narrative that they should be having more success, in part because to them, they're not getting all of the weapons they've asked for from the U.S. and from NATO allies.
Right.
And so they've asked for long-range missiles, they've asked for fighter aircraft for a long time, and now while President Biden and other NATO leaders have agreed to provide them with F-16s, this is something that's very far in the future, and was really never meant for this counteroffensive right now.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by defense reporter Mike Brest. Mike, we've had the ongoing war in Ukraine, but Russia and Ukraine right now are really at loggerheads over this power plant. Talk to me a little bit about the competing accusations that are being bandied around and what's really going on there.
So it all comes down to and centers around the Zaporizhzhia power plant. Now this is, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe right now. So the fear that something could go wrong is very real, is very serious, and has been there for the entirety of the war. Now the power plant is in Russian control, and it's not fully operational, but they have, it's online to a limited extent, which raises concerns about local shelling in the area. And so earlier this week, President Zelensky accused Russian forces of mining the power plant in the event that Ukrainians were to reach the power plant in their counteroffensive. Conversely, as we've seen a number of times in the war, once Ukraine accused Russia of something, Russia accused Ukraine of the same thing.
Right.
And so it's hard for us to figure out exactly what's going on, with both sides saying diametrically opposed things. But we know that Zelensky cited Ukrainian intelligence, and they published photos of what they said looked like explosives all around the facilities. So it really is, while it's always been a concern, a little bit more heightened based on what leaders from both countries are saying, even though we've heard as recently as last week from the U.S. that they have not seen anything to change the U.S.'s nuclear posture.
So the theory that it's the Russians that will attack the plant or destroy the plant is based on Russian activity in Ukraine up to this point. And then the theory that the Ukrainians would do it is based on the idea that the Ukrainians want to get Western powers more directly involved in the war effort, and this might be a way to do that. Has the U.S. made any assessment of what they think is going on?
The U.S. has been hesitant to comment publicly about what exactly is going on. That being said, we've seen the IAEA, which is the UN's sort of
nuclear watchdog.
Exactly. They are on the ground there. They are very concerned about what's going on, but they said as well that they haven't seen any significant evidence that something has changed. So that fear's always been there, but it's not clear that something has demonstrably changed right now in this moment, leading to this back and forth accusation.
What can you tell us about how the Ukrainian counteroffensive is going?
It's going slowly. So we heard in the lead up to it a lot of hype. We heard it from U.S. officials. We heard even Ukrainian leaders express some concern that if they don't have significant positive success, foreign aid could slow down. And so despite all of the hype coming into this offensive, it has gone slowly, and we've heard Ukrainian leaders express frustration with this narrative that they should be having more success, in part because to them, they're not getting all of the weapons they've asked for from the U.S. and from NATO allies. And so they've asked for long-range missiles, they've asked for fighter aircraft for a long time, and now while President Biden and other NATO leaders have agreed to provide them with F-16s, this is something that's very far in the future, and was really never meant for this counteroffensive right now.
So there is the speculation that if the counteroffensive doesn't go well, it might lessen the appetites of Western governments to continue aiding Ukraine, or at least aiding them on the level that they currently are.
That's right. And so it's unknown exactly how the offensive will continue. The U.S. and other NATO allies continue to provide them weapons. We're talking billions of dollars worth. Just oftentimes it is replenishing weapons that they've already been given, new ammunition. and a lot of the weapons are to replace things that have been destroyed or damaged in the war.
So closer to home, we've had the Pentagon leaker case where we've had some classified information get out, and the Defense Department has been reviewing its procedures and its practices to try to make incidents like this less likely. We've seen some preliminary results of this review. What did we find?
Essentially, the Pentagon found that they have been not necessarily over-classifying, but that they have been given access to a lot of people to classified information. And so Secretary Austin directed one of his undersecretaries to conduct an investigation or to look into and to review their policies regarding classified information following this, significant leak.
Sure.
And so his investigation found, and Secretary Austin approved his findings to implement changes that essentially put more measures in place to hold specific individuals accountable, whether that's creating a person responsible for each unit per se, to make sure that everyone is in compliance with the policies and procedures that are relevant to their classification.
Thank you, Mike. You can read Mike and the rest of our national security team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.